Hi, I have a mic and a pulse, and this is the third part of my 5-part series predicting the effects of every perk in Starfield, this time focusing on the combat tree. You don't need to have seen the others to understand this one, but I do recommend that you start with the physical video, as the physical tree is frankly just more interesting than the combat tree and should make a better first impression. Now without further ado, Episode 3, Hurting People and Breaking Things. Like the social tree, the combat tree was already fully visible in last year's trailer, so there aren't a lot of surprises. It's also not as multifaceted as physical or social, mostly falling under hurting people, hitting the people you're trying to hurt, and hurting people a little more. The first two rows are filled with the basic damage skills, with most weapons being governed by two main perks, one for the weapon type, pistols, rifles, shotties, big guns, and melee, and one for the projectile type, ballistic lasers, particle beams, explosives, and what I believe is an electron weapon skill, as the stars could represent the flash that these guns make, and the ring could be an electron orbital. Notably, they do stun, but they don't seem to do bonus EMP damage against robots like Fallout's pulse weaponry, and as mentioned in the physical video, the status has inconsistent effects, with this mercenary being stunned, this creature being weakened, and robots potentially having an altogether different effect like going haywire, which could make up for the social tree's mind control skills being presumably ineffective against robots. One of my big hopes here is that it's actually possible to take in enemies alive, so we're not repeating the 10-second surrenders from Skyrim. Obviously, the guns don't just stun people and can be quite lethal, but an upgrade that decreases raw damage to boost stun potential would be great for bounty hunting, and walking into a ship, stunning and handcuffing every criminal on board, and then driving the whole thing back to Vanguard headquarters for a nice reward would be extremely satisfying. Other weapon category points of note are, 1, explosives might flit back and forth between being categorized under projectile type and weapon type, depending on whether you're using grenades, a heavy weapon that fires explosives, or explosive ammo. 2, melee weapons will probably be at a significant disadvantage as they won't get the additional bonus of an ammo type, and just don't seem to have any perks other than their basic one in general. And 3, there's no skill in science or tech for any kind of exotic weaponry, which doesn't bode super well for the presence of things like gamma guns or cryolators, though we know there are at least cryo mines, with other exotic grenades a major possibility. It's possible that exotic weapons will be present and simply lack perk support, and we could also get some weird damage type upgrades for lasers and particle beams, since we've already seen thermal mods for lasers and could see things like rad mods for particle beams. Other odd thing about thermal damage, its damage icon is a droplet, not a fireball, and while the damage type icons have been hard to parse in general, the droplet could represent liquid water, as in Goldilocks temperatures, with the same resistance covering both burning and freezing. I also feel like I should make some speculation about the rank 4 bonuses of the weapon perks, but I can't do much more than guess that they might be roughly equivalent to existing Fallout perks. Row 3 still has the steady aim, sniper, and quick hand skills we knew, with the marksman's skill continuing to likely mean accuracy and almost definitely not mean bows, though it does seem a little weird to have 3 accuracy perks plus the range boost from ballistics rank 4, unless we're going to be sniping people from the moon at max level, which I would not object to. While nothing in the last row was ever confirmed, 4A went from a bulletproof vest with a few holes to a fully armored guy getting shot, and 4B went from a normal kneecap to someone taking an arrow to the knee, so still confident that those represent armor piercing and either actual limb damage or just limb-based disruption, which should be quite helpful since without VATS we're going to have to go for headshots the way God intended, shooting an enemy in the knee and then executing them while they lay writhing on the ground. 4C could be yet another accuracy perk, but we know there are critical hits and I'm still betting on it for crits. As promised, no real surprises. My overall assessment of the tree is that it's serviceable, but lacks panache. The weapon variety seems good, and the rank 4 skills are probably worth grinding for, but it doesn't seem like you'll be doing much with the skills that you couldn't just do somewhat worse without them. Part of that might be the lack of VATS, which did a lot of heavy lifting in terms of integrating Fallout's RPG mechanics with its gunplay, and was where a lot of Fallout 4's most powerful perks activated. Armor piercing is all well and good, but Blitz turns shotgun range into melee range, and melee range into the splash zone, and I'm not seeing anything of quite that caliber here. We might get some cool effects from the 4th level bonuses, like armor piercing upgrading to shoot through cover or multiple enemies, and marksman granting bonus damage if you score repeated hits on the same limb, but I have no evidence for either of those. So yeah, things should hopefully pick up next time with the science skills, which do seem more interesting. Sometimes being comprehensive means having a bit of filler every now and then. Bye.